This All-Ontario final today will pit Sault Ste. Marie against Niagara Falls, Wadding Secondary School against Stamford Collegiate Vocational Institute. Ken, what can you tell us about these two teams?
Well, this is a funny situation, really. Both teams were not favored to win their own divisions. Sault Wadding upset Sault Collegiate, who had defeated them twice during the year. Then they go on and beat Sudbury St. Charles, a very strong team also. So they represent NAS, a strong team, physically strong, good shooters, good rebounding, good height. They stand to be the favored team in this. Now, on the other side, now we look at Stamford Collegiate. Now, they lost out in their area to an A.N. Meyer team who goes on and loses to Governor Simcoe and the Sasa, and their season's over. And the players have tied up, hung up their running shoes. They said it's all over. But then, just on a real fluke, the Nowassa entry, Thunder Bay, who have some problems up there, can't field a team, and they say we're not coming. Now, precedent was set back in 1955 for entering yet a second host area. Well, a second host team from the local area. Well, it was first of all A.N. Meyer, and secondly it turns out to be Stamford. They get in on just a fluke. 1955 they got in on a fluke, they won it. Now whether history can repeat itself like that would really be something. But that they've come a long way to get to the final game, especially with one of their starters gone to Florida. So
well, we'll be talking about all of those things. Can you give us one name from either side we can watch for?
Yes, I think you've got to look for the shooters. Like both teams will maybe playing zone, trying to contain each other. Stamford have to rely on Kevin Smith. He's their one pure shooter. They got to get Macchio to enter it, but Kevin Smith's the one who's got to put the ball in the basket for him. On the other side, we look at Williams and Nero, two very fine shooters. They're the ones that got to get the shots, got to score, and if that happens, then they'll live up to their expectations as the #1 seed in the tournament.
Now, Robert Nero has had a tremendous tournament, averaging better than 20 per game, but he's on the limp. He has an ankle injury, and it remains to be seen how effective he will be in this game. But it's the All-Ontario Championship final, and anything can happen. Should be a good close game, and I know you will enjoy it. Come on back in just a few moments for the player introductions. They are introducing the Stamford Hornets from Niagara Falls. They will be the visiting team. Here's the starting five. Kevin Smith. Number 24, Vito DiMartino. Number 30 is Francis Macchio. Number 31 is Jeff Beard. And number 35, Ken Todd. The coach is Bob Cool. The other players, Kevin Smith, Emil Brewer, Rick Herkimer, John Nickel, Mike Moreau, Ken Todd, I believe we mentioned him, John Brettel, and Bill Bray. Now to introduce to you the Wadding Collegiate Braves from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. And they introduce the entire team. Manuel Martinez is coming out here now. Joe Canardi was the first man out. Number 32, Mike Luxton. Jim Marinici, number 35. Wally Zielinski, number 44. Greg Mullen is number 55. Now the starters. Robert Nero, number 11. He has been an outstanding player in this tournament. He's only 5'9". He's playing his final game with the Wadding Braves. Number 22 is Jerry Tulloch. Number 24, Bill Williams. Number 33, John Zanata. And number 34, Ken Leask. Leask is 6'4". He's another grade 13 student. Dennis Collins is the head coach of the Wadding Braves. So Sault Ste. Marie against Niagara Falls for the All-Ontario Championship, Ken.
Some of the players that we should watch for here with the Wadding team, for instance, is number 22, Jerry Tulloch. He handles the ball for them all the time. He's the one who's responsible for getting their offense to run. I think we'll find Stamford in a man-for-man defense, possibly pressuring them full court. That's as they've been doing all tournament long. On the other end of the court, we'll see a trapping type of zone used by the Wadding team. But Jerry Tulloch will have to run the offense for him. Number 11, Robert Nero, until he got hurt, was a fine offensive threat for him. He seems to be moving well there at this point, but he has got to score for them to be a winner today.
Well, we'll see just how bad that injury is. The officials, Murray Mulligan from St. Catharines and Denny Morrison from Windsor. Stamford in white with the basketball. Number 30 is Francis Macchio. Over for DiMartino. Number 20 playing the corner is Kevin Smith.
I think if you look at it carefully, Bowani sort of play a 1-2-2 zone, and they bring the baseman diagonally across to fill the center on it. Now, for Stanford to be successful, what they're going to have to do is get the ball around to number 20. He's their shooter. Kevin Smith is a very fine shooter, pure shooter, and he's got to shoot, get the handle of the ball, and score if Stanford have a chance.
Kevin Smith just hit for 2. Bowani with the basketball now. They are favored in this game. One of the reasons is Robert Nero. How about that for defensive play? Taking the ball away was Ken Todd.
Kenny Todd has been a stalwart all game series long. He's rebounds for him. He's the one that's important. What you'll probably see is that he'll get tired late in the game. They just don't have a capable substitute for him, and he tires very much so in the second half, especially the fourth quarter.
Ken Todd gets the tip to Vito DiMartino, playing along with Francis Macchio, number 30. And number 24, that's DiMartino. Macchio, the bounce pass to the corner man, and the shot. That one just a little too hard. Ken Todd taking it. The second one over the basket by DiMartino. And Bowani coming up with the basketball. That was Ken Least rebounding as they start away. The Bowani Braves from Sault Ste. Marie. Bill Williams, number 24.
Bill Williams is one of their big shooters. They look for him to score for them, and at the same time, they're such a strong physical team that they need 34 and 22, or 34 and 33 to rebound for them.
All right, 6 minutes and 14 seconds remaining here in the first period. 2-0. Stanford with the lead, make it 4-0 on that bucket. So, number 20, Kevin Smith, hitting for the first time in this ball game, second time in this ball game, has 4 points. 5:57 remaining in the first period. They play 4 8-minute periods. Wadding held off the scoreboard. There's Nero, well outside, and he hits from the top of the key. But he is on the hobble. He's hurt. Nero, number 11.
The way he put that shot up, it hardly looked like he was missing a beat, but he is definitely hurting, and I think we'll see as he gets tired, his ankle will start to betray him there.
Well, he's well bandaged up. His coach was saying they'd have to give him lots of attention. He's tired as well. It's been a long tournament here at Brock. Number 30 for Stanford is Francis Macchio, giving Stanford now a 6-2 lead.
The Bowani team don't particularly want to run. They want to run their offensive patterns. They run patterns from sideline out of bounds plays. Now here they set up in their 1-4 offense. We'll see the guard go through, and now there's twice in a row they put it through and got the ball to him. And Stanford have got to stop that first play through.
Last week in the consolation final, it was Tilsonburg's Glendale High School defeating Parkdale from Toronto 50-48 in an exciting game. We hope you joined us for it. Steve Clements was the outstanding player in the game and certainly outstanding in the second half. 27 points in the second half alone.
Steve Clements had a marvelous game. He shot 3 for 4. He only had 4 shots in the first half, but 12 for 16. Wow, 15 for 20 is just fantastic shooting. And a great solo performance considering they only had 56 shots and shot 38% overall as a team.
You're looking at the Bowani bench, and behind those players are some of the Sault Ste. Marie fans who flew in here for this game. There are 3 radio stations covering this basketball tournament. So the interest in AAA basketball in the province of Ontario is growing every year. This is for the All-Ontario High School Championship. Wadding from Sioux in the dark uniforms. Now they have 4 points, and Nero is really the key man. He's number 11 with the ball. Robert Nero. The feed inside to number 34, Ken Least. And it's tied at 6.
If Kenny Todd gets in foul trouble, Stanford are in very deep trouble. Now, that time, they let Sue Bowani set up in their offense and start their pattern through with Jerry Tulloch, number 22, going through, and then they run a pick and roll with the high post. And unless they settle it down and stop letting this Robert Nero get his shots, then Stanford are going to have their troubles.
Bob Gould, the coach of Stanford, saying before the game they were the underdogs. But they are playing with great poise here, and they have the lead again, 8-6. Vito DiMartino.
There goes the guard through. Here comes the pick, and they got the shot off for Williams. Now, it was a bad shot. He didn't get a good play off it, but as a result, Supawati just pressured the rebounder and got the ball back.
Nero was short on that shot. Steele. Tulloch.
Boy, Supawati are really showing a lot of quickness at this point in the game. Getting a lot of extra chances. Stanford looked tired from the tough game they had in the semifinals. They're going to have to dig deep to find the reserve to stay with this strong Bowating team from Sault Ste. Marie.
In the semifinals, Stanford of Niagara Falls defeated Toronto Parkdale, and Bowating Collegiate of Sault Ste. Marie defeating Tillsonburg Glendale.
Here we see the guard through again. We'll watch for the pick and roll. Nero's getting the ball. He forced that shot up. What a shooter he is. He scored. He's had 2 games in this tournament where he scored in the 20s.
Let me repeat, Robert Nero is 5'9", a grade 13 student, and he is a key. He's been really the talk of the tournament, proving that a little man can play this game and play it well. Bowating moving out with John Zanatta. Zanatta all the way up to Nero. Key man.
Number 30 there, Francis Macchio, is a key ball handler for the Stanford team, and he's got to handle the ball, get it, penetrate with it, and set up the Stanford team if they're going to get good shots to score.
Nero in there for the rebound. Passing off. That one over the basket, and Nero following up. Just a great effort from Robert Nero as his team leads at 12-8 on the scoreboard. When you look at it, Bowating from Sault Ste. Marie will be the hometown team. Niagara Falls the visitors, and a timeout has been called. Well, we should mention here that Ken Walsh from Governor Simcoe Secondary School in St. Catharines, our guest commentator this week, was in this tournament with his team, and he's also the convener. Now, that's no small job. A lot going on, but let me be maybe the 25th person to say, Ken, a job well done. You can slice the excitement with a knife here, and it's been a great tournament. You know, the unexpected has happened time and time again, right down to the national anthem before this game. All of a sudden, the voices of the students came out of the crowd and grew and kind of get you.
It's nice to see that sort of pride come out. It sort of reflects sort of a wholesome image about the fans surrounded with this great game of basketball. Unexpected. The 2 teams that are in here are greatly unexpected even for that.
There are some of those Sioux fans. They're wearing the Bowating sweaters. You can see the red, white, and gold. How many planes did they charter?
Well, I was told two plane loads, but they had a lot of fans down here before that even. Great support for this team.
And the Sault Ste. Marie radio station is right down there in front of them, sending the game back home. Now, it's a 12-8 ball game with 2 minutes remaining here in the first period. Francis Macchio works along with Vito DiMartino, number 24. That's number 20, a key man, Kevin Smith in the corner. Bouncing off the rim and out. Good bit of rebounding there on the part of number 34, Ken Least. This Nero is really something to watch, though, number 11.
You watch him carefully, you can see actually that he is favoring that ankle.
I think he's forgetting the hurt, don't you?
Yeah, somehow you dig deep when it counts like this for a championship game.
Jerry Tulloch getting close coverage.
It looks like now we're seeing a zone here by the Stanford team. They're trying to counteract. They were having so much trouble stopping the offensive pattern by the Sioux team that they've just had to go to a zone here.
There's Jeff Fear bringing the ball up court.
Again, let me repeat that number 20, Kevin Smith, has to handle it and get shots. They don't want the shots from number 30, Macchio here. He's not a gifted shooter. Good ball handler, good defensive player. But they want their shots from their shooters. They got to get it to Kenny Todd, 35, and number 20, Kevin Smith.
Bowating
Foul against Ken Lease.
Yeah, but Wadding getting that foul. Ken Lease. Another timeout has been called. Well, during this timeout, perhaps we could talk a bit about this AAA tournament. Last year, Ken, we covered the AA. That was the All-Ontario Championships for small schools. And this is really for the bigger schools. Would you say necessarily more talented teams because of the larger schools?
It is the prestige tournament of the province for high school basketball, maybe even high school sport. And as a result, what you find is that teams, small schools in small areas, will, if they have any kind of good team at all, will try to go into this AAA caliber. In fact, Tillsonburg could be a single A type of school. And the level of competition there is not as great, obviously, because they're mostly small rural schools. But here we're seeing actually the finest teams in the province that have made it through successfully their playoffs and into this tournament. The importance of this tournament is already reflected here in the first quarter. We've seen each team call a timeout.
Now, your team, Governor Simcoe, played this Wadding team. Are they showing the Niagara Falls players anything new or different?
No, this is the way they started the tournament against Kingston, and they did the same thing against Guelph and against us. They played a 1-3, that 1-2-2 zone or 1-3-1 zone that it slides into at times, and run if they can, but mostly they like to run they set up their patterns, run their little plays, and they're just a strong physical team on the boards. Now
for this jump ball with 34 seconds remaining, Wally Zielinski along with number 20, Kevin Smith. And it's a Wadding ball. That's a good piece of hustle there we saw from Bill Williams. 12 to 8, his team leading.
Quick footwork there by the Stamford coach, Bob Cool. he took the pass and still had time to catch the offensive player. Stanford are not capitalizing on this press. They're beating the press, but they're just not capitalizing on it by going to the basket with the ball. Great solo effort by Kenny Todd to score. The kind of thing they got to get, but they got the shot from their good shooter. They got the second effort from their best rebounder. That's all they can ask for.
They trail by 2 as that long shot is taken, but it's off the mark, and that's the end of the first period of play. 12-10, the lead for the Sault Ste. Marie Wadding High Schoolers over Stanford Collegiate and Vocational Institute from Niagara Falls. We'll return in just a moment. 12-10 to Wadding from Sault Ste. Marie, leading the Stamford Hornets from Niagara Falls. 12-10, and the second quarter just underway. And Ken, John Oliver from Governor Simcoe here in St. Catharines from your school doing some statistical work for us. We failed to give him a plug last week. What does he have for us in the first half?
Well, so far, we see that with the 12-10 score, that the two shooters, the shooter for each team, Robert Nero and Kevin Smith for Stanford, Robert Nero's got 6 points. He's got 6 out of their 12, and Kevin Smith's got 4 out of their 10. The teams are getting the scoring from the people that have to do them. Each team has to try and stop that if they want to win.
Did you expect a higher scoring first quarter?
Well, no, not really. See, this is a first time in for each team, and as a result, I think they're both really tight. They're both playing a zone, and that in itself tends to slow down the scoring. So that I think we will see a low-scoring game throughout, unless it opens up in the second half with the pressing.
Well, let's see if the Hornets can nab the basketball here and get an even terms with these Wadding Braves from Sault Ste. Marie. Again, good hustle on the part of Bill Williams, but it will give the ball to Stanford. They'll take it. Number 35 out of bounds is Ken Todd. Bacchio and DiMartino work well together. There they are, 30 and 24. See if they feed Smith or if they feed Todd here. There's Todd. He has no room to shoot double coverage. The bounce pass.
Vecchio's just getting himself in trouble. Now there's some good passing and opening it up. It's beginning to look a bit like a 2-3 zone that this Bowating team are playing, but they're not sliding. They're not showing any kind of movement on their defense. They're getting kind of lazy, and if they do that, Stanford's going to continually get good shots.
Need the hustle and the muscle back there, I guess. Jeff Fear getting those 2 points, tying it up at 12 here in the second period of play. Listen to these fans. Listen to these fans. They want Stanford to go ahead in this game, but they lose it on the turnover. A collision. Oh. Ken Todd just a little bit upset. A collision there in the backcourt.
That's 2 fouls now on Kenny Todd, and they just can't afford it. The zone's going to help protect them that they've gone into. Well, they went into it for 2 reasons, I guess. One is that they really can't afford to lose anyone with fouls, and secondly, they just couldn't handle the offensive patterns that the Sioux Bowating team were running.
This is the OFSA final, the All-Ontario Championship. 17 district associations make up OFSA, the Ontario Federation of School Athletic Associations. And as a provincial organization, it's responsible for keeping interschool athletic programs educational for those taking part. Now, this is quite a lesson in basketball we're seeing here. Bowating missing, shooting short. Remember, we have a tie game here at 12. Stanford and White.
Bowating don't want Zanata taking that shot. They want their shooters taking a shot. Nero and Williams, they're their shooters. That was a good, that's good strong play at the other end there.
Dennis Collins calling a timeout. Do we have the fouls on Ken Leask? Is that his first? He has 3 on him. So Ken Leask in foul trouble here. There is the time remaining in the second quarter of play, and the score at 12. Generally, no pre- or postseason games are scheduled since these competitions occur only during school months. That's an important thing, and we should be asking people like Ken Walsh about this. The academic and the athletic side of the life of a young man playing basketball. It has to be kind of a tough row to hoe, isn't it? I mean, in order to be a good basketball player, you have to be a good student and vice versa. Where do they find the time?
It's a proven fact, really, that your better athletes become better organized. But they have to organize their time to fit in all the things they do. For instance, on the Stanford team, we're looking at 4 players who are also on their student council. One of them, Kenny Todd, is the student council president. Now, that in itself is enough to demand a premium of time from any person. But they manage it with a highly successful athletic career at the same time.
At the line for the Stanford Hornets, that's Vito DiMartino. They'll get another chance. Trying to break this tie here. It was 12-10 at the half, at the end of the quarter, and here in the second quarter of play, the Hornets have not been able to score a point.
Now that's the one they want shooting. They want Williams shooting from there.
Well, 14-13. Bowating, the hometown team, on the board, leading by 1. So Stanford will have a chance on this drive to go ahead in the ball game by 1.
Now there's their shooter with the ball, and he has been off. He's had, I think, about 3 or 4 good opportunities so far in this game, and he just can't seem to find the mark.
Well, like the consolation game last week, Steve Clemens was off in his shooting in the first half, but came on to hit on 27 points in the second. Kevin Smith and Todd Jose are those key men back there. They could get hot yet.
Wally Zaleski's getting good position, number 44 there for the Bowating team, and with his height, what he could do to this Stanford team who aren't tall, it would be deadly. Now there he had position again, didn't need it because the ball drops in, but this Stanford team have got to get position. They went to a zone to give them that better rebounding amongst the other things, and they're just not getting it. Now they might just get some scoring from Kevin Smith here.
16-15, Bowating with the lead and the basketball. Jerry Tulloch leading his teammates. As Bill Williams, number 24 with him. That's Williams. The ever-present Robert Nero, number 11, who will take the ball here. He is nifty. And a nice pass off to Jerry Tulloch. And it's 18-15. The Wadding leading by 3.
Stanford had trouble with this same sort of press from the Parkdale team in their previous game. Were able to overcome it and win. Now here they struggled with it, got it through, and were able to capitalize in good measure by taking it right through to the basket.
That was Jeff Fear. 4 points now for Fear in the game.
31, white push.
Well, pushing off, as you heard, for Stanford, Jeff Fear.
Jeff Fear was forced into that foul, but the position that Zaleski's getting, he just keeps getting position in there, and at his height, with 6'4", Kevin Fear at 6'1", just can't compete, really.
Wadding with the ball, Robert Nero. Another nice play. John Zanata. Zanata has 4 points. Nero has 6. As does Kevin Smith for Stanford. Make that 8. Kevin Smith leading all shooters. Wadding leading by 1. 20-19. Robert Nero. Nice touch from the corner. Bill Williams.
Williams has 4 points on 2 field goals, both from that same spot. He's one of their shooters, along with Nero. But the player that just could assert himself and cause a lot of trouble here today is Jerry Tulloch. He hasn't done so in his tournament, but he's capable. And if he erupts, then we're going to really see an all-out attack from this Super Wadding team.
That's a foul on Robert Nero. And the first personal on Nero. Francis Macchio at the free throw line. Now, he will not get that bonus shot. So it's 22-19, and the Wadding hold the basketball and the lead right now.
Stanford are not an overall good shooting team, and they've got to penetrate and get those close shots.
Nero will get another opportunity here. Holds on to it. Tulloch, number 22, setting and shooting. Yes. 24-19. And Tulloch now has 4 points. Jerry Tulloch, number 22. Macchio to the corner man. And Todd makes it good. Ken Todd. 24-21.
The Stanford team are penetrating the zone, passing off, and doing a good job of it. Oh, Williams is just shooting from the baseline like crazy. That's 3 in a row. He's 3 for 3.
3 for Bill Williams, and a total of 6 points, 26-21.
But as I was saying about the Stanford team, you watch them, they split 2 defenders, they penetrate, and then they pass the ball off to a person in a better shooting position. And they've had good success and good ball handling with that so far, and we'll see if they can continue that. Now, Francis here is splitting 2 players. There's the pass out. Now, he's got to penetrate, though, if they're going to get something worthwhile from it. They're working it in. 24's got an excellent distance shot. Again, just not their shooter, though. They're going to have to put Kevin Smith up there, I think, to get that shot.
Steal by Jerry Tulloch again. Tulloch playing a fine game. Bill Williams holding on to keep it in bounds to Tulloch. Getting close attention from Francis Macchio. That's Nero. Back to Tulloch. Watch for Williams. And always watch for Nero.
There's 6'4" again.
Wally Zielinski.
He's just staying right down low underneath the basket, working on rebounding position. He's going to get a lot of points that way.
Zielinski will play next year. He's only in grade 12. Few of these players in the final game. Robert Nero, Jerry Tulloch, Bill Williams, Ken Lease. There's some good ones. Well, he had 7 seconds remaining until halftime. And that 28-21 lead could be narrowed a bit here. At the line, number 31, Jeff Fear. Grade 13 student as well. The Fear will have a second shot. And that puts Stanford within 5 of Bowatting, and the clock starts to move with 6 seconds. Williams, will they get the shot away? Hits the rim, back out again, and the buzzer sounds to end the first half of play. It was 12-10 at the end of the first quarter, 28-23 for the Sioux at the half. Well, what do you think is going to happen in the second half now with that Stanford team with their backs to the wall?
Well, I don't think you're going to see too much change on either team. Both teams are getting good shots from good positions, and what I think that the statistics would show is that the shooting percentage of the Sioux Bowatting team is better. They have a wider array of people who can shoot. They've been getting good mileage out of Jerry Tulloch, who hasn't asserted himself in previous games, but he's got 2 baskets. Robert Nero, their key shooter, and Bill Williams, their other key shooter, has given him a sort of a 3-prong attack. And Wally Zielinski inside, wow, Zielinski inside is rebounding with like a real tear. But on the other end of the floor now, Stanford don't have that many real shooters to go to. Jeff Fear at the end got those 2 foul shots. He's not their best shooter, though. They've got to get to Kevin Smith, and Kenny Todd could shoot a little bit outside for him, but again, he's their height. He has to rebound too, so if you sacrifice some shooting, you don't get the rebounding, and so they're really torn. And Kevin Smith just isn't getting the number of shots he should have.
So Bowatting from Sault Ste. Marie lead it 28-23 over the Stanford Hornets from Niagara Falls here at the 27th annual All-Ontario AAA Golden Ball Championship. Bowatting from Sault Ste. Marie with the lead in this game, and they are the favorite team. Your team played them.
Yeah, we had a rather good game. We got them playing our style of basketball, but they're such a strong physical team. They beat us on the boards, and we shot so badly. We could have won, but we shot so badly they beat us. But they're a fine team, a good representative from the north. And
can you draw any comparisons between your game and this one?
Well, not really. Not in that they're similar. They're so radically different. Sioux Bowatting are still playing their zone. They're relying on their patience to get the good shot. They have the good shooters and the good rebounding. But we pressed them and had good success pressing them. But Stanford can't do that. They don't have the depth to keep up the pressure and keep it on. I think it would help them, but they had to go into a zone, and the game has slowed down a lot that way.
Let's go over a few of the statistics here. Kevin Smith with 8 points, leading all shooters for Stanford. Vito DiMartino has 3. Francis Morocco has 2. Jeff Fear has 6. Ken Todd has 4. They'll have to come up in the second half, both Todd and Smith. And for Bowatting, it's Robert Nero with 6 points, Jerry Tulloch with 6, Bill Williams has 6, John Zanata has 4, and Ken Leask, who has 3 personal fouls on him, has 4, and Wally Zielinski 2. Any other stats you want to go over here?
Well, I think the 3 fouls on Ken Leask could be significant, although they have greater depth at height, and they are so strong that in the long run, that's what's going to pay off and probably win for them in this game, that they're going to get those extra shots inside. They have more people who can put the ball up with confidence on the offense to score. Those 2 things are just going to be too much for Stanford.
Well, in the AAA All-Ontario Golden Ball Tournament, the 4th place winners this year, Glendale from Tillsonburg. They were defeated by Parkdale Panthers from Toronto, who take 3rd in the tournament, and this is for 1st and 2nd place. We've had a fine tournament all the way through, and in this one, as we head to the second half, 28-23, Bowatting from Sault Ste. Marie leading Stanford Collegiate and Vocational School from Niagara Falls. And here are the starters for the second half of play. Number 35 for Stanford, coming back out again, is Ken Todd. Number 31 is Jeff Fear. Number 24, Vito DiMartino. Number 30, Francis Macchio. Number 35, Ken Todd, is one man to watch. Kevin Smith, the other man. Robert Nero, number 11 for Bewating. Number 22 is Jerry Tulloch. Stanford hitting.
Well, Stanford got the ball to one of their shooters, Kenny Todd, but we have to point out again that him getting the ball means they don't get the rebounding. Now, Stanford have changed the zone that they're in. They're now playing a 3-2. They're going to perhaps try to match up with this perimeter type of shooting. At the same time, hopefully get something positive inside. Wow, Zaleski with position again, and a second time position. Didn't need it. Getting good basket shooting by Tulloch, but
30-25, that 5-point lead being held by the Sioux. And how the Stanford Hornets would like to come back. Nero in a race for the ball, lost out.
Kevin Smith got the shot again. He just hasn't got the tempo going yet. He's got to catch fire and shoot with an abnormally high percentage tonight to win this game for them.
That is Nero. Along with Jerry Tulloch, they're really the 1-2 punch out there. Bill Williams, number 24. They can come up with a hot hand. Nero to the big man, Zielinski. And Stanford will get the basketball. That's the kind of breaks they're looking for.
5'10", Vito DiMartino goes in and stuffs that 6'4" guy. That really helped. Oh!
Well, you have to be impressed with the aggressive play of Vito DiMartino and Francis Macchio.
Here's what Macchio does best. He penetrates the basket and gets a shot inside. He's got long arms and he's got good quickness to penetrate, but he's just not the outside shooter that they need.
But he keeps them honest. Here's Jerry Tulloch again with Nero.
Now Nero handles the ball. He'll try and find a hole so he can get a shot. But they're really paying close attention to him, the Stanford team, trying not to let him have any good shots. Stanford are starting to run. That's opening up the game a bit for him, and that's what they're going to have to do.
Tulloch has been outstanding. That was Tulloch, number 22, giving it to Nero. He can move. He quarterbacks this team, as you see.
The adjustment in the zone seems to be paying off for this Stanford team. They're getting to Nero consistently and preventing him from getting a shot, and they always seem to be on Williams here. Now Nero has snuck behind the zone trying to get a pass. And they got inside again. Now they've gone to their inside game.
The inside man is Zielinski, who will go to the line, fouled by Ken Todd. Or Dave. Oh, that's right, Ken Todd. So Zielinski at the free throw line, looking for the 31st Bewating point, and gets it.
Kenny Todd only has 2 fouls. They can't really afford to get him with a third yet. So he's going to have to stay conservative a little bit. Stanford tried to get their running game going here in order, and they had it going, and now just a good adjustment by the Bewating team in controlling the game, and as a result, they end up shutting down their running game. And here again, the strong rebounding get them the extra chance.
Tulloch, look at that ball handling. Nero inside to Zielinski. Can't do it, but he gets the rebound. So they'll have a chance to do it all over again. Bill Williams, number 24. He's a good shooter. That one's a little too hard. Stanford on the run now with Jeff Fear. Loses it to Nero, who goes right in there. Takes the basketball away from him.
Now they don't want that shot. Zielinski's got to help inside, not there.
Williams.
Now that
foul is called on number 22, Jerry Tulloch. How many on Tulloch now? That's his first. First personal foul. Ken Leask on the bench has 3 personals on him.
One of the best ways to beat a zone is to get the ball down in a hurry. That time we saw it done very well by Stanford. They got the ball down, promoted up quickly to their shooter, Kevin Smith, and he was the perfect string man on that break. He put it right through.
Stanford keeping it close on that basket by Smith. He has 10 so far. He leads all shooters. Nero has 6. He has the ball now. Williams. John Brettel in the game now, number 33 for Milwaukee. So Brettel will have a free throw. Either team in the bonus situation, 31-29, and he will add to the Milwaukee total here with another chance.
Now we see two key board men for Stanford. Francis Macchio with 2 fouls and Kenny Todd with 2 fouls. That's significant. Sault Ste. Marie a little slow in setting up their press here, but I noticed that they're spread out. It looked for a moment as if they were going to come out man for man here, but no, they're staying in the confines of that zone. That's been good to them all tournament long, and they're not going to be too anxious to leave it.
Well, they're not going to give them too much inside. Look at Nero going after the ball there. Ken Todd. They've had most of their luck along the baseline there with Todd and Smith. And that'll be 2.
Good job.
Jeff Fear. 8 points for Fear.
Macchio penetrated to set up that play and then was able to get position on the boards.
Neither team has really substituted freely here, Ken. They're going with all the races.
I think that'll play an important part in it here too. And as we see Nero running around, he's limping more and more, and that'll get worse as the game goes on because he is tired. But now Tulloch is starting to assert himself, and that is important for the Sioux team. Now the Sioux look like they want to try and capitalize on the ball handling here.
34-21 for Sault Ste. Marie over Niagara Falls. That's Milwaukee Secondary School from the Sioux against Stanford. The Hornets in white, and they have the ball now.
Stanford have been handling the ball well. They've been penetrating. I think that's largely due to the slowness of this zone. The zone just hasn't moved quickly to stop them. And they are patient. Stanford are patient. They want to get the ball to their shooter. That is their shooter right there.
Kevin Smith. Smith now has 12 points. And that makes it 34-33.
And the Braves call timeout.
The Braves, the Stanford Braves, call that timeout. Bob Nero is on the limp as he goes back to the bench. You have some stats here for us.
John Zanata has number 33 for the Sioux team, has picked up his 3rd foul. He and Ken Lisk both have 3 fouls. Zanata is 6'1", but they look to him also on the boards. Kevin Smith now has got his point total up to 12. That's important. He and Jeff Fear are the two main shooters for their team right now. And both of them seem to be getting the opportunities, and good opportunities. And if that continues, this Sioux Milwaukee team are going to have to make an adjustment. In fact, they probably should make an adjustment right now. This Stanford team have the tempo of the game. They're handling the press that Milwaukee's throwing at them. They're getting good shots. There's going to have to be a change made, and we just might see it when the Milwaukee team comes out of this timeout.
Now a few words on behalf of OFSA, the individual participants, the most important consideration in all these sporting events. What he or she learns now can help them later. If he decides to continue in amateur athletics, several times you will keep track of some of these young high schoolers and watch their careers blossom as they go on to college ranks, and some of them become world-class athletes. Of course, it's possible too that someday these youngsters will be teaching in the secondary school system of Ontario and getting the opportunity to coach some basketball. Goes full circle.
This is where you want to, I think as a parent, this is where you want to see your child participating in sport, and that is in the schools. They have a much better control of the coaching, of the attitude that might happen. just a much more wholesome situation for sports.
8 points in all for Bill Williams now. Shaken up on the play. Vito DiMartino went down heavily, tripped up. So he will go to the line, 36-34. No, it won't be a shooting foul. Take that back.
Next foul is going to be a shooting foul, and that's significant because there's only 2 fouls against the Stanford in this half. So they'll be in the bonus shooting situation before the Sioux team.
Now let's see if patience pays off again here for Stanford. They do take their time. Francis Macchio has Kevin Smith, number 20, shooting, and it does pay off. Smith now has 15 points. Well, we mentioned earlier, Ken, he started off very slowly, but he's coming on.
And he is their shooter. He is a pure shooter. He works really hard. He maximizes the most of his potential. And if he stays hot, as he has been now for the last minute or so, that's going to prove significant. Now, Macchio's getting a little too aggressive out there in the front of the zone. He picks up a foul. That's trouble.
Right. Tied 36-36 with exactly a minute remaining here in the third period of play. And on the turnover, Stanford getting the ball, and they have an opportunity to go ahead. That went right through the hands of Stanford's Vito DiMartino.
Now, we could see Stanford hustling in their zone, really working. They can taste it. They've come back. They brought up the 5-point deficit that was there at halftime, and they're really hustling. You look here at the Sioux team, they look tired. They're standing in their zone. They just don't have the enthusiasm, it seems. The tempo of the game is swinging significantly right now.
And Stanford taking the lead, 38-36. That is why they are cheering. Stanford playing here on the scoreboard as the guests. That's the way it went. Rather a complicated draw in this tournament. And perhaps Ken will explain that for us a bit later on. That is Nero going in there. And he has been held off the scoreboard since the first half. Those Falls fans, as the siren goes, and that was a close one, 40-38. Granada has 3, Leask has 3 for the Mawating side. They've tied it. It's 40-40 with that last basket you saw. Francis Macchio. And the hot man Kevin Smith continues to roll now with 17 points. Ken mentioned tempo. And they are going at it here in the final period.
Mawating's trying to take the tempo of the game away. They changed to a mid-court trapping press. They didn't get the double team again, and instead Stanford penetrated, got a good basket. But now they're getting the ball to Williams, and he can shoot. And if that continues, they're going to have good success.
Well, it's a game of mistakes, of course, like any other team sport.
There is their strength right there.
And you hate to see a loser in any game, but there definitely will be one here today. No matter how long it takes, they're going for a championship, either Mawating or Stanford. 42-42. And Tulloch, who has been just outstanding, number 22, leading the attack here for Mawating.
Robert Nero's out of the game now for Mawating. His ankle must be hurting him. It has to. Uh-oh.
3-second violation. You hate to give them up.
Possession of the ball like that without a shot. That one hurts, a turnover. But they have got to get to an inside game. This Mawating team, they've got the height. They have an advantage there that they're not capitalizing on. And they're opening it up here for the third basket in a row. Kevin Smith. Boy, tempo is the word, and Stanford have it right now.
That's right. They have the hot hand, and the hot man is Kevin Smith, the 6-footer, playing in his final game as a Stanford Hornet.
That was the 4th fall for Ken Leask.
This is the biggest lead they've had, Ken, 46-42, and they can add to it right here. Mawating rebounding, getting the ball. Leask. Listen, are those fans talking about that one? I'd hate to be a referee in a championship game. Williams, number 24. Tulloch
Tulloch hasn't been handling the ball with the assertiveness that he needs. He has to control this team out there, and he's just not doing it. He's been indecisive in handling the ball and not getting it to the people who should handle it. Now, that time he did show something positive. He handled it, got it to a shooter.
Ken Leask, who set out second and third quarters, 3 personal fouls on him, back in, and he's been helping. 46-44 for Stanford. Again, it's Smith. Kevin Smith has 23 points. He started slowly, but is he coming on? Timeout is called by Wadding. And there's a look at Tulloch as he goes back to talk with his coach, Dennis Collins. And there is the Wadding huddle. There is the time remaining in the game, and there's the story, the tale of the tape. 48-44, quite a turnaround. At the end of 1 quarter of play, it was 12-10 Wadding, and it was 28-23 at the half. 40-38. Niagara Falls leading the Sioux going into this final period of play, and we have 5 minutes and 12 seconds remaining.
So far, we've seen Stanford make one adjustment. They did that at halftime. They changed from their one. They started out man for man, had to go into the 1-3-1 zone. The 1-3-1 zone didn't cover the shooters the way it should have, and they weren't getting the rebounding. They went to this 3-2 zone, and they just blanketed the shooters in good style, and at the same time, giving them better rebounding position. Sue Wadding's team haven't adjusted to that. Sue Wadding's team adjustment was to try to get the tempo of the game back. They went to their full court press. They just looked tired, listless. It seems if they just can't get anything going. They went to their mid-court traffic press, and that didn't do it. Offensively, they just haven't made the adjustment. Now they're trying to get Nero back in the game. They're trying to get him shooting, and they have got to get stuff out of him if they're going to win.
It will be Stanford ball, and Francis Macchio will start away for the Stanford Hornets. Jeff Fear is number 31. Number 24 is Vito DiMartino. The all-important Kevin Smith is number 20. He has the ball, just getting it back again to Macchio. And there it is.
Jeff Fear set that up nicely.
25.
He set a screen on the low man on the zone who was supposed to cover the corner there. They reversed the ball right around to Kevin, and he did what he does best, put the ball right in the basket.
50-44.
Here they go again.
Hornets.
They're trying to
Wadding really off here, Ken, in the second half. Really off, and it certainly shows on the board. They have only scored 4 points since this period began.
Macchio just got his 4th foul. That really hurts. They cannot afford to lose him. When they go to the bench for someone else, that's trouble.
Didn't like the call. Wadding will take it. Ken Todd arguing that one.
That's Kenny Todd. That's Kenny Todd's 3rd foul. The two key guys in that defensive set, Macchio and Kenny Todd, both looking like they might have foul trouble coming up.
Tulloch. 50-46. 3 minutes and 48 seconds remaining. Nice play. Kevin Smith to Ken Todd. 8 points for Todd.
That was an important basket. That put him up 6 points with 3.5 minutes to go. They needed that because Tulloch's basket could have given them the tempo of the game. Now they got to slow it down again and try to work against this zone. Stanford have done a good job. That looks like the 4th foul on Kenny Todd. And now it is. It's official. That's 4 fouls on Todd, 4 on Macchio. And if Wadding keep going inside as they have, they'll get these 2 lads are going to foul out, and then there will be trouble.
Zanata at the line, and remember, he has 3 on him.
Zanata's played a strong tournament. He's been consistent for them.
And he gets 2 from the free throw line. That's consistent enough. 52-48. Now 3:17 remaining. Stanford on the run with DiMartino. Stopping short to Jeff Beer, DiMartino, and Macchio. All starters. Keep an eye on Smith, number 20. And Todd down there at the baseline. They can take their time.
It looks like right now that Stanford aren't even intending to score. They look like they're trying to run the clock down.
That they are doing. That was the indication from their bench.
Uh-oh.
Big turnover. Bill Williams. Ken Leask. Leask has 4 personal fouls on him. 52-50.
2 turnovers in a row. They get it back on a break and get a foul. That was important.
52-50.
Wadding were starting to run. They were getting the turnovers off their press. Good things were happening for them there, and they had to put a few of those together to steal that tempo. This hurt them. This foul slows them down, and if they can put these 2 free throws in, build it up to 4 points. Now they got a 3-point lead. If they get this one, build it to 4 with 2.5 minutes, that is significant. Key difference.
And he does get 2 from the line. Ken Todd, 54-50. Here's Nero. Obviously not playing up to par. On the limp. He's really hurting out there. You can see a pained expression on his face from time to time. But still, he's given it a big effort here. The Wadding, they need him, and they need him right now. They are the favorite team. For Stanford, Ken Todd, he's played a strong game. Well, they've all played a strong game, Ken.
4 points with 2 minutes to go. They've got the ball. They've got this Pewaukee team spread out. They want to get the good basket. Oh, that's a big basket. 6 points, 1 minute 50 seconds to go. And Sioux are going to have to work the ball to get the good shot here. Then their press is going to have to get a steal.
Vito DiMartino's basket could be the biggest one of the tournament. It could be the one that wins it all. Nero, way off in his shooting. Everything is going Stanford's way now.
Oh, that might not have been the wisest idea. That could have been a 2-point, make an 8-point lead. But possession is going to help them.
That's right. All they have to do is hold onto the ball. 1 minute 20 seconds remaining.
Sioux have got to get the ball. It looks like they're going to have to foul together. You can make up points, but you can't make up time. They're in trouble. They're just not going to the fouls. They're really in trouble. It's going to be less than a minute. Just
good effort. Great effort.
that, folks, could be the game.
Yes, sir. Macchio to Kevin Smith, and he has been their big man. Kevin Smith doing what they thought he could do, starting off slowly in this game. Stanford trailing at the end of one period, trailing at the half, then coming on in the third period to lead 48-38. Now they have a 58-50 lead with only 58 seconds remaining in this game.
Kevin Smith, 27 points. 8 points at halftime, 19 points in the second half. We're seeing the same sort of individual type of performance we saw last week in that Tilsonburg-Parkdale game. And that was a great individual performance there by Steve Clemens. Now, Kevin Smith's getting the points. 8-point lead here with 58 seconds to go. What we're going to look for here when we come back is the Wadding team getting the ball down in a hurry, getting a good shot, hitting the boards, and then getting a quick steal to try and get back in the game. 8 points is too much. They can't afford to give up any more time here, or it's all over.
Niagara Falls, Stanford playing in their own backyard here in St. Catharines at Brock University. Actually, people like to say Brock University is thorough, don't they? 50 seconds left, 58-50. And that Stanford bench, very, very enthusiastic to a man.
This is a real Cinderella story. Stanford, the favorite team in their league, defeated all the teams in their league until the end, and then when they had the title won for their division, they lost the last 2 games. So then they go in the playoffs, and they play against the other half of the league, and they cross over. They win the first game, but then they play a team they had beaten 4 out of 5 times during the season, and they get knocked off. That puts them right completely out of contention. So one of their key players, a starting player, Lee Buckborough, made plans to go to Florida, and they all assumed that the year was over for them. Subsequently, the Ian Meyer team goes on, plays Governor Simcoe, and since this is the host area, they get to put an extra team in, and that would be Ian Meyer, of course, because Governor Simcoe wins the Saucer Championship. Stanford are completely out of it. Then, all of a sudden, Thunder Bay, the WAS entry says, we're not coming. That means there's another opening. The precedent has been set way back when, back in 1955, when Stanford were invited in and just on the last second and proceeded to win the tournament. And that's what's looking to happen right here. They got the ball, they got possession, and they're going to have another match. This is history repeating itself. 1955, they got invited in at the last minute, and they won it. Here they get in at the last second, and they're well in control to win it again, yes.
35 seconds remaining. 60-52, they lead it. I remember another story. We cover, of course, college ball here on TV 11. Remember the CIAUs last year when the University of Guelph invited in, won it all.
This is the same sort of performance we're seeing. Oh, wow, there's 2 baskets in a row. That's 6 points with 28 seconds left. This game isn't over completely.
Another steal. Now we have 24 seconds left. It's 60-54. 5 fouls unleashed.
Francis Macchio. Macchio's gone. He's a key ball handler. 24 seconds, 6 points. That's not impossible.
Macchio gets a standing ovation from these Stanford fans. Fouling Lease, who has 4 personal fouls on him.
The person who comes in here has got a tough job because he's going to basically be cold. Nobody has really played much for Stanford except the starting 5. Now, when they come out, probably they'll go with Herkimer. Now, Herkimer's played a lot for him during the year, but he hasn't played in this game, so he's cold. And if he's forced to handle the ball, turnovers could easily result yet.
It is Rick Herkimer coming in, number 22, to replace Francis Macchio, and the Mawading player at the free throw line takes a quick look at the clock. 24 seconds remaining. His team trailing 60-54. Remember, they led it at the end of 1 period, at the end of 2. But it turned around.
Oh, missed the first end of a 1-and-1. That is really important. Stanford not taking any chances with the pressure on them. As 4 players were surrounding Kenny Todd, he calls a quick timeout to try to regroup their forces. 20 seconds, 6 points. Now that you're going to see the Mawading team come out and they just pull all the stops out. The last time out, the Stanford team took and gambled and sent 1 player on a fast pattern down the floor, and they tried to throw it to him, and it was successful.
20 seconds remaining, and an excitement-filled gymnasium here at Brock University. And our guest commentator, Ken Walsh, the convener of this meet, must be happy with this enthusiastic response. Says here on the officer sheet, paid admissions and entry fees provide the revenue necessary for the organization of these competitions. Is that right?
Yes, indeed. Mostly the fans, though, are the ones that keep them alive.
That's right. These events are designed to be self-supporting, and an exciting time it is for each and every fan. 60-54. What a finish. In the consolation final, a 2-point win. A 2-point win for Parkdale over Tilsonburg. Parkdale from Toronto, Tilsonburg, Glendale.
Stanford tried that pattern again. They didn't take off fast enough. They got called for 5 seconds.
Nero.
He's their shooter, and he did it. Now that was important. They beat the pressure that time. Seconds to go now. 4 points. Stanford call a timeout. Again, Kenny Todd being pressured greatly, trying to use the timeout to help his side.
There it is. Second remaining. 60-56. There's 7 seconds remaining. I'm sorry. 60-56. And Jerry Tulloch was very upset with himself as he headed back to that bench. Ken had indicated that he didn't play up to par started out well in this game, and he's been one of the main cogs in that Wadding attack. If he didn't play up to par, he must have had a heck of a tournament.
He had 6 points. He scored over 20 points in 2 different games. Now here he is hurt. If you look carefully, you can actually see him favoring the leg. He had 6 points at halftime. He only got 2 more baskets in the second half. So they shut him down significantly. Tillich get 14 points. That helps them, but they just don't get the overall consistent shooting. And Stanford are really in control here.
7 seconds, the time remaining on the clock. Well, Wadding will hold on to the basketball. Now Tulloch is complaining that clock shouldn't have moved, didn't he?
That's right. There was 7 seconds on the clock. The ball was out of bounds. The referee calls too long putting the ball into play. Therefore, the ball never officially was alive, and time certainly shouldn't have run up. Now, 1 second could be the difference. Now, we saw what happened with the Parkdale team. They scored right at a key time at the end of the game, but they didn't call a timeout. The clock ran out as the other team just casually took their time throwing it in bounds. So 7 seconds is important. They got 4 points. They got to go down, score, and call a timeout immediately to stop that clock.
Now they're going to have to do some adjusting with the clock, as you see, to get it back to 7 again. The effect of Ontario's high school athletic program is outstanding. In fact, each year, one out of every 3 boys in high school competes in some form of school-organized sports. So there's so much emphasis placed these days on physical fitness and activities. It's nice to see that high school students are becoming involved in the athletic programs at their schools.
At this point, the only thing that can really hurt Stanford is a foul. They just don't want to stop the clock. If they make Wadding take their time and shoot, then they should very easily be able to win this game. But if they foul, that's going to stop the clock. That's going to give Wadding just that little bit of edge that might make the difference in winning. Wadding certainly haven't given up here. They're going to get the ball probably to Nero for a quick shot and then try to rebound it quickly.
Ken Leask has been very important in the Stanford attack as well, or in the Wadding attack, and that's Leask. It's all over. It's all over. The Stanford Hornets, underdog,
excited
in this tournament, coming in, and history does indeed repeat itself. Are they a happy lot? Well, they worked hard for each and every basket, and they beat a fine basketball team in these Wadding Braves from Sault Ste. Marie.
There was excellent officiating in that game. The combination of the local referee, Murray Mulligan, and Denny Morrison from Windsor did an excellent job. They kept it under control. They were almost oblivious almost all the game. That shows they did an excellent job.
Well, there will be a presentation here to the victorious Stanford Hornets from Stanford Collegiate and Vocational Institute in Niagara Falls, Ontario. All Ontario high school basketball champions for 1974-75 as the Wadding Collegiate Braves line up for the handshaking ceremony. Many of these players in their final high school game, and they are really excited. Here's the way it went. It was 12-10 at the end of 1 period. The Wadding, with the momentum, just kept on top of the Stanford team. The Sioux leading at 28-23 at the half. And then at the end of 3 periods, quite a turnabout. Stanford led 40-38. And Ken, after that lead, they never gave it up.
No, they took the tempo of the game. But Wadding seemed to be their own worst enemy. They stretched their defense out, and they got half-hearted sort of pressure on the ball all over the floor, and they allowed Stanford to get running. And boy, that's the best thing that Stanford can do is run. The other thing they allowed to happen was Kevin Smith to get loose and shoot. 8 points at halftime, 27 at the end of the game. A great individual performance. Jeff Beer gets 12. Kenny Todd gets 10, but innumerable rebounds and great defensive play.
You're looking at Mr. Bev Goulding, who is Executive Secretary of OFSA, the Ontario Federation of School Athletic Associations, getting ready now for the presentation.
Competition for the high schools of Ontario by last year's committee from Kitchener-Waterloo. On it are inscribed all of the 27 teams and their coaches from the previous tournaments. And now I turn it over to the rest of the presentations.
The first presentation is that of first and second place pennants to the team captains by Mr. Lauren Ward, the Vice President of SASA.
Thank you. I'd like to call first upon captain and coach from Hawaii.
Bill Williams and his coach, Dennis Collins, of the Bowatting Braves.
Coach Dennis Collins, Captain Bill Williams of Bowatting.
The Sioux Bowatting team put on an excellent display while they're here. They should be proud of their boys. They represented the NASA district, and they're sitting very well.
Captain Ken Todd.
Ken Todd, the captain of the Stamford Hornets, and Bob Cool, the head coach at Stamford.
Thank you, Mr.
Last time they won a championship 20 years ago in 1955.
This is the presentation of the medals.
History repeating itself.
Championship team.
In that year, Niagara Falls Collegiate were the favorite team, and they were expected to win it. At the last minute, something happened. They invited Stamford in. Stamford goes on to win it. Same things happened here today. Well, I think we saw an excellent coaching job done by Bob Cool, too.
Kevin Smith presented his medal now.
DiMartino.
Each player receiving a gold medal.
Jeff Fear. Ken Todd.
The Secretary-Treasurer of SASA, Mr. Howie Triano, is presenting the trophies there. The Secretary-Treasurer of Zone 4, Mr. Gary England, is holding the medals, giving them to Mr. Triano.
John Nickel.
Now these are some of the players who didn't get in the game,
Tino Sherwood.
but very much a part of this Stamford organization.
Bill Bray. Mike Moros. John Brettle. The manager of the Hornets, Dave Woolley.
They can't find the team manager. Yes, they can.
John Kulik. And the coach, Bob Cool.
Well, Bob Cool was, I would say, nervous before this game.
Another member of our team, Lee Bucklow, I'd like to give. He's a very good person.
Well, Mr. Cool seems quite cool now. What a thrill it must be for him.
And finally,
He's been there before, but he's never won it. It's a great thrill.
Stamford to take home with them the championship trophy and plaque. Presenting it, SASA President, Mr. Harry Sawchuk.
This is the president of the SASA, the host association here, Mr. Harry Sawchuk from Governor Simcoe High School. The winning team gets a plaque that they'll be able to keep in their display case for all times now. That'll be their possession. But the trophy, that'll be on display only for a year. And it'll be inscribed with the team's names, the players' names, and returned for next year to be given out to another team.
This concludes the presentations. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, an emotional time over at the Stamford bench, and they'll do the ceremonial cutting of the basket or the netting. I don't think the scissors will go through the hoop. Next week, OFSA Wrestling from Saunders Secondary School in London, Ontario. And Norm Marshall will be on hand to bring you highlights of that all-Ontario competition. Our very special thanks to you, Ken Walsh, from Governor Simcoe, for your excellent commentary. And we look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you very much, Sandy.
And now this is Sandy Hoyt, again reminding you that the Ontario Championship Sports Series is seen each week here on TV 11 at 2. Join us next week for OFSAA Wrestling.